Hi, I'm Dennis Ferraro. I'm a professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where I'm a herpetologist, one of the only certified herpetologists in the state of Nebraska. And what I do is I study, I do research on, and I do conservation on, and teach about the amphibians, reptiles, and turtles of the state of Nebraska. And we're going to talk about one segment of those animals, and that's the snakes of Nebraska today, because we only have a short amount of time with you. So the first thing, just so we're all on the same page, and so it's educational, quickly write down, or you can type it for yourself, and then I'll tell you, I'll go through it. What do you have to be a reptile? Why isn't your dog a reptile? Why aren't you a reptile? Why isn't a mouse a reptile? What things do you have to be considered a reptile by scientists? I'll give you 1 minute. And just while you're doing that, I'll tell you I'm talking from the main area of my lab, in which there's a number of rooms, 4 rooms. Each room is full of all the amphibians, turtles, and reptiles of the state. I have caught in the state, we have a male and female of almost all the species of the state. How many species of amphibians, reptiles, and turtles are there in the state of Nebraska? The answer to that question is 63. And we have 60 of those 63. Actually 59, we don't have all the lizards. Okay, to be a reptile, you have to be a vertebrate or have a backbone. You can feel your backbone. All reptiles have a backbone like us. Number 2, they are ectotherms, which means they're the same temperature as the air, soil, and water in which they live. We can make our body, and our body makes our body 98.6. They get all their heat and cooling from the atmosphere. Do not, especially if you come to college, ever call an animal cold-blooded. Okay? Because an animal that's an ectotherm that lives in the desert, its temperature could be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Is 100 degrees cold? And you can't have contradiction in biology, so you can't have a hot, cold-blooded animal. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So they are the backbone, they are ectotherm, and they're covered with scales. So every reptile, not amphibian, but every reptile in the world has overlapping scales, beaded scales, plate scales, but none of them have skin like an amphibian, or skin like a person, or hair like a person I used to have, fur like a mammal, okay? They all have beta keratin, that's like your fingernail, scales covering their body. Different than fish scales, but similar. Okay, that's 3 things. Backbone, ectotherm, covered with scales. Okay? The last one that only the reptiles have with those 3, so you can find those 3 maybe in a fish, is that all reptiles have to breathe air with lungs. There are no reptiles with gills, no reptiles that can breathe through their skin like amphibians. Every reptile has to breathe through a lung. Even sea turtles or sea snakes that live on the coral reef have to go up almost a quarter mile, take oxygen from the surface in their big lung, and then swim down and stay down there. So every reptile in the world has to breathe from a lung, because snakes only have 1 lung, or lungs. Some lizards have 2 lungs, some turtles have 2 lungs, and we have some lizards that have 3 lungs. Okay? But all reptiles have to breathe from lungs. So that's what makes a reptile, primarily. Backbone, ectotherm, covered with scales, and breathe air with the longer lungs. Okay, we're talking about snakes, one type of reptile in the state of Nebraska. How many different species of snakes do you think we have in Nebraska? It's a number. Write it down. Okay? How many do you think we have? How many different species? I'm a different species than a bat, because my chromosome is different. So each one of these snakes cannot have babies together. They are a distinct different species, just as I'm different from a bat or you are from a dog. The chromosome numbers are that different. Matter of fact, I have 46 chromosomes. The brown bat has 44. So I'm not that far from a bat. But I still can't have babies with that. Okay, we see some numbers coming up. Can't see all of them. The right answer is 29. So if your answer was close to 30 or 29, that's how many distinct species we have in the state of Nebraska. So all those that got close to 29, give yourself a pat on the back or have your teacher give you a gold star. Okay? Next question is this: yes or no? Do snakes have bones like us? Of course, they don't have arm bones, but do they have skull bones, jaw bones, back bones? We already talked about that one. And other bones. Or do they have cartilage? Or do they have different bones? Do snakes have bones like us? Yes or no? Okay, I see a lot of yeses. Correct. This is a skeleton of a garter snake. It has jaw bones, as you can see. Let me get the right one here, back up. Okay, it has jaw bones. It has frontal bones. It has ribs. Feel your ribs? You have 12, 9 to 12 ribs. Depending on what mammal you are. Okay? I guess most of you are Homo sapiens. Okay? Snakes have 100 to 200 ribs. It has a backbone. Long. Much longer than our backbone. But it's all bone. Now, if it breaks its backbone any place, except for the tail, breaks it here, it will die pretty immediately. Just if you break your backbone, you will die within a day. These animals will die within a day if they break their backbone, if they get run over, or if they get cut on their backbone just one place. They don't stay alive to sundown. They die pretty quickly. We, myself and the veterinarians I train, we have not been able to figure how to fix the snake's backbone if they get run over by a car. We're trying, but we have not. They all die. We can't fix it. Okay? So don't run them over, because we can't fix it. Remember I said we had 29 snakes in the great state of Nebraska. One last question and we'll start looking at snakes. Okay. Out of the 29 snakes we have in the great state of Nebraska, how many can harm a person? Either by having enough teeth power that if it bits you, you need more than a tiny band-aid, having any toxicant or venom, or what you may arbitrarily call poison, because there's no such thing as a poisonous snake. They're venomous snakes. Or having any germ, virus, bacteria, flea, or tick that can cross from an ectotherm to a mammal. So health-wise, how many of the 29 snakes in the state of Nebraska can harm you in any way or form? The number is greater than 1, but less than 29. So start writing a number down. And it doesn't matter if you're a 9-month-old baby or a 90-year-old adult. And we don't count mental anguish due to ignorance. It has to be physical health hazard. Okay, I see the right answer. The right answer is 5. So whoever had 5, pat yourself on the back, give that person a gold star. Okay. If we were in person, I would give you a rubber snake. But we're not, unfortunately. So we have 5 out of 29. So if we have 29 snakes in the state, and 5 that can harm you in any way or form, not 5 that are venomous, but 5 that can harm you in any way or form, and you take 5 from 29, okay, math isn't everything, how many of our snakes are completely harmless? Quickly write your number down. It's easy subtraction. We add a little math. Math isn't everything. Okay, a lot of 24s. Correct. All you can pat yourself on the back. 24 of our 29 snakes are 100% harmless in every way and form. Of the ones that can harm you, of the 5, 4 have venom. We have 3 rattlesnakes, 1, 2, 3 rattlesnakes. 2 of those you'll never see. We have the Massasauga rattlesnake, which is endangered, only found in Pawnee, Johnson, and Jefferson County. We have the timber rattlesnake, which is only found in Richardson, Nemaha, and Gage County. Only 200 left, so we're breeding them in captivity and releasing them to try to get them back so they don't go extinct. That's what my students do. That's what these posters are about. And then there's one that's out west, the prairie rattlesnake. If we draw a line from Kearney, diagonal to Knox County, and then keep going diagonal all the way to Minnesota, the prairie rattlesnake is found north and west of that line. So fairly close to you, but not that close. There is a remnant population of prairie rattlesnakes on Nature Conservancy property in Plymouth County, Iowa. But it's on protected property called Broken Kettle. And that's just a remnant little piece that probably only has about 50 snakes. But we have them mainly tagged right now with the Nature Conservancy. So, we have 3 rattlesnakes, okay? Only one that you'll ever see, and that's if you go out west in Nebraska or north to South Dakota. And we have one other venomous that really is, it's venomous, but it's a real low key. It's the copperhead, and it's only found in Gage County, Nebraska. Southern Gage County, Nebraska. And copperheads, their poison is less than 1/10 that of a rattlesnake. It's like a bad wasp bite. If you go to the hospital, if you've been bitten by a copperhead, they wipe it with disinfectant and usually send you home. Okay, but go to the hospital if you try to kill, because that's the people who get bit. 80% of the people who get bit are trying to hurt, capture, or kill a rattlesnake. If you walk the other way, no problem. Okay, so don't go after it. Don't try to kill it. You'll be safe. Walk the other way. It always walks the other way. Okay. Excuse me, it always crawls the other way if you walk the other way. So I said there's 5, but there's only 4 venomous in the state. The 5th one, and this is what my students have been doing for 10 years, is we swab all the snakes of the state. We found out there's only one that 10% of them can carry a germ, virus, bacteria that can transfer to people. And that is the bacteria Salmonella. And that's our water snakes who live with Canada geese. So we're blaming the geese for polluting the water. But so if you handle a water snake, wash your hands before you eat and you'll be fine. And you can get salmonella from eggs, chicken, in a lot of ways. But you can't get anything else. You can't get COVID, you can't get rabies, you can't get distemper, you can't get anything else from snakes because they are ectotherms and they have nucleated blood cells, so they can't carry those type of problems. Okay, so now, time to look at snakes. All the snakes you're going to see, you'll see my student hand them to me in cloth bags. The reason is, when they're in the cloth bag, okay, this allows them to breed and they go into a rest state. So we always put snakes in the cloth bag, and the tag just tells the student which one it is, so she knows which one to hand me. Okay, and we can just tie the cloth bag off, and we can carry them very easily in the field. Okay, so all the snakes you're going to see have been caught in the wild by myself some years ago, and some just this last year. This first one is a milk snake. It's found across the whole state of Nebraska. This is a full-grown milk snake. 100% harmless because it's not a rattlesnake. Okay? And if it did try to bite me, I can't even make it bite me, but if it did, I can never make snakes bite me. It must be professional courtesy. But if it did try to bite me, I couldn't feel it. Its teeth are less than a 1/16 of an inch, and it just uses its teeth to hold the baby mouse, and then it wraps on the baby mouse, and then when the baby mouse is dead, it swallows it whole. Now this is a full-grown, fairly large milk snake, in the state. I can't remember exactly which county this one's from, but you can find milk snakes in your area as well. Notice it has bands. The bands could be bright red or yellow. This one has to be a rust red, black, and kind of a whitish cream color. Now, in Nebraska, the only thing you have with bands is the milk snake. Complete bands around. Okay? The whole body is bands. Okay? Now, the color could be almost anything. Or any kind of red, any kind of yellow or white, and of course black is always black. Notice that the reddish color is bordered by black. Red on black, friend of Jack. All milk snakes are non-venomous and harmless. Okay, so we're going to put the milk snake back. We'll see what the next one is. This is one of our 4 types of garter snakes found in the state of Nebraska. This is the common garter snake. And so it's very common in your county, in your area. It's found in every county in the state. This is a full-grown female. In fact, she had babies here at the lab. We're looking at the DNA, and so we just have her have babies, take a little piece of DNA from them, and let them go. So last week she gave birth to, I think, 15 babies. Live birth. The milk snake lays eggs. The garter snakes give live birth. They have babies once a year at the end of August. The other thing about the snake, it's one of our garter snakes, so it has 3 stripes. The color of the stripes or the color in between the stripes could be anything. It's still a garter snake. It could be blue, it could be red, it could be green, it could be yellow, it could be orange. Color doesn't tell us anything about species. Just like there's brunettes, blondes, and redheads when it comes to people. We never go by color to tell species of snake. That's genetics, it's not species. However, if I count the scales around the middle of the body, I know this, if it comes to 17 scales, I know this is a common garter snake. If I count it, excuse me, as 21 scales, it's a plains garter snake. If I count it and it comes to 19 scales, it's a terrestrial garter snake. If I count it and it comes to 17 scales and it doesn't have any black bars, it's a ribbon garter snake. So it's not the color that tells us which one it is. Color of tongue means nothing. Some snakes have red tongues, some snakes have black tongues, some snakes have white tongues. This one has red and black tongue. I don't know if you can see that. Quickly write down, while I'm getting the next snake, why is the snake sticking out his tongue all the time? The reason is, that's how it senses its environment. It uses smell. It has a nose, but the nose doesn't work very well. But it has 2 holes in the roof of its mouth that are like holes in my nose. The tongue comes out, catches all the chemicals in the air, which are smells, and then it puts its tongue in the roof of its mouth. This side of the tongue goes in this hole, this side of the tongue goes in this hole in the roof of the mouth, and it tells it that smell is coming from this side, or that smell is coming from this side. We can see direction. Snakes smell direction. And they can tell a long way away if the mouse or the predator is here, or the mouse or predator there. So they're sticking their tongue out 4 times a second, going like this, back and forth. They're just smelling where everything is. So they're seeing with their tongue and nose. This next one is found in your area. This is an eastern hognose. It eats nothing but toads. It fans its head out fan your head out, to scare you, but virtually has no teeth. It grabs the toad, but all snakes have to eat their food whole. No snake can chew, no snakes can take a bite out of anything. If they bite down on something, their mouth dislocates a little and spreads apart here so they can swallow something big. No snake in the world can take a bite out of anything. They have to swallow it whole. So this snake, with only 2 tiny teeth, has a big square head. So with its skull that has that nose, it pops the toad out of the sand. It goes to eat the toad with its wide head. The toad doesn't want to be eaten, so the toad sucks in air. You ever see a toad do that? This snake has 2 prong teeth in the back of its mouth. You can see it right there. And it punctures the toad. I finally got this on video. The toad deflates, and then it swallows the toad whole. And it can digest the poison that a toad has that other animals don't like when they chew on it. So this is the hognose snake. The other thing about the hognose, because it's scared of you, every snake is, if you go to grab him in the wild, like this one did when I caught it, it rolls over. First it lays its head out and comes up like a cobra and says, "I'm big, leave me alone, leave me alone." And if you still go for it, it rolls over, plays dead, and throws up. Makes it really easy to catch. Okay? Eastern hognose. We do have a western hognose or plain hognose that's on the western part of the state. That looks different. It eats lizards instead of toads. Next one is found in your area. I try to pick snakes that are found from the northwest corner of the state.
Dennis, Annette has a question for you.
Okay.
I was wondering, how can you tell the difference between a girl and a boy snake?
Very good. I have to probe into the coecal opening. If you take my class, you'll learn how to do it. So you can't tell by looking. Okay? I can't because I've seen so many, but you have to actually probe into the coecal opening, which is right there. Coecal opening is opening to their digestive system, where they poop from, their urinary system, where they let out uric acid because they don't have urine, they have solid. And he wants my pen. Okay? And it is also the opening to what we call the reproductive system. It's all in one opening called a coecal. And in there, if I probe, I can find out if it's a male or female. That's the only way you can tell 100%. So this is a racer, the North American racer, also called the yellow belly racer. Now, when I took it out of the cage, it was lime green. It's now kind of blue-green. It will change to gray-green if it gets really scared. So the exact same snake can be lime green, dark green, olive green, blue green, gray green, black green, or even black. There's no such thing as a blue racer, green racer. They're all North American racers, and they change color. Okay? They change color if they're warm and they're happy, they're lime green. If they're being held and they're still warm, they're usually olive green. If they're stressed and they're cold, they're almost gray green. This one's bluish green right now. Now you notice I'm holding a snake in the middle. You always hold snakes in the middle. First of all, you don't touch anything that you think may be venomous. But if it doesn't have a rattle on it, and you know it's 100% know it's not venomous, okay, if you're going to touch it, only if you have to, you would hold it in the middle. Never behind the head. Never, ever touch a snake behind the head. That hurts them, and that's how you get bit. Because this one's fresh out of the wild, and it's not touching me. But if I grab it behind the head, it's going to want to bite me. I don't know if it's going to do it right now, but it will. Want to bite me? No? Okay. Yeah, it doesn't even want to bite me when I touch it. Want to bite me? I can never get snakes to bite me. Okay. Because I'm holding them properly. This is the second fastest snake in the state. It's called the North American Racer. Next
Dennis,
one.
you have about 4 more minutes.
Okay, I'll go faster. This is a fox snake found in your area. The rounded nose, blotches, and grows to about 5 foot. And the belly looks like a piano. It eats rodents and very common in your area. I've caught them in Cedar County and Thurston County, Burke County, all in your area. Next one, see which one that she gave me, is the only really water snake we have in the state. This is the northern water snake. Found in all our waterways, including the Missouri River, completely harmless. It has live babies, and every one of the live babies comes out with an umbilical scar or a belly button, because this one connects with the mother, like mammals. They can get bigger and blacker, and they eat dead, dying fish only, and they're found in all our waterways. We have, in Nebraska, we have no dangerous or venomous water snakes. They're all this one. Harmless. In fact, they're the best thing for the fish community, because they only go after dead, dying, diseased fish. And remember, this is the only one that can carry salmonella. And this one's going in. She just had babies last week, and so she's going to do what we call post-parturition shed. Next one's in your area. It's the only snake in Nebraska that lives in trees, and it only lives in counties that touch the Missouri River in Nebraska. This is the black rat snake. It's the only snake that can do this. Climb, up, up, climb, lazy, up, up, all the way, up, all the way. Yes, they've been taught. My students teach them. The snake knows to find the finger, your elbow, your watch, or a red ball. You have to show it because it can't hear, and then you hide it and it finds it. This is the black rat snake. Grows to 5.5 feet and lives in trees along the Missouri River. Eats rodents and baby birds. Last one is the most common snake in the state of Nebraska and grows by far to be the largest. It grows to 8.5 foot. That's 2 foot bigger than any other snake in the state of the 29. And it's found in all 93 counties. And that's our bull snake. This one's only 7.5 foot, so it has another foot to grow. Bull snakes are the only snake with a pointed nostril, extra scale on the nose. Let me show you. There. There. Again, if the snake bit me, even though it's 7.5 foot, I probably wouldn't feel it because it constricts its prey, and it will never constrict something bigger than a pound because it can't swallow anything bigger than a pound. So I never have to worry about constricting. And I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if they let me open its mouth. Its teeth, come on, let me open your mouth. Teeth are less than 1/8 of an inch. So when a bull snake is going like this, it's all bluff. I stick my hand in the mouth and it goes, oh no, he knows I have no teeth. It's just, get away from me, get away from me, get away from me, don't hurt me. Because they can't hurt you. Unless you're under a pound. Bull snake is also the only snake in the state that can dig its own hole because of that extra nose scale. Every other snake in the state has to use the hole of another animal. So the only snake hole is a bull snake hole. And they go after moles and gophers. Okay. Any questions? I'll stay holding the bull snake while you're asking questions.
Madeline has a question. Or Madeline, I'm sorry. They want to know, have you ever been bitten by a snake, Dennis?
Yeah, I let all of them bite me. Because usually when I first catch them, if I let them bite me, then they know it doesn't do anything. I've never been bitten by a venomous snake, and I handle them every day. I've caught over almost 2,000 rattlesnakes. I've handled mambas, cobras. So I've never been bitten by a venomous snake because I teach venomous certification for zoos. But all the other snakes, I want them to bite me at least once so they know that it's not something that would hurt them. But I usually can't get bit by them.
Great question. Samantha, you have a question. Or Ms. Brown, I'm sorry.
All these snakes are from the wild. It's not like they are born in captivity or pets. These are, I caught in Nebraska.
Dennis, how long have you been studying snakes?
I knew I wanted to be a herpetologist when I was in the 3rd grade. I remember the teacher asking the first day of 3rd grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said a herpetologist, and I vividly remember the teacher running to a dictionary to look it up. So I went through high school, I did my first 2 degrees at Iowa State, and then I came here to Nebraska in 1982. Yeah, I'm old, I'm 65. I've been a herpetologist my whole life. Been teaching here for 30 years and will not do anything else to the day I die.
Abigail has a question. Abigail, you can type it or you can pop on if you want to ask.
Can you train snakes? Yes, but you have to think like a snake, not think like a person. They're much more, they have their own intelligence, a lot more than we thought. I have students studying that. But you got to remember that it's a completely different brain and different senses. And so if you can connect with that, you can, so to speak, train them to do different things. But I don't like to. I just do that somewhat to give them enrichment because I don't want to exploit them for our entertainment. So anything we do is to help them, their enrichment. So if we do put them back out in the wild, they can just go right back out in the wild. So that's what we do.
Abigail has asked, what is the largest snake?
In the world, the largest
Let's
snake.
go, yeah, world in Nebraska.
Oh, the bull snake grows to 8.5 foot by far. So the bull snake's the largest snake in Nebraska. In the world, it's the anaconda. In the wild, grows to be the longest. But in captivity, the python, the Burmese python, and particularly python, can grow longer. But since they don't live in the water in the wild they don't get 20 feet. But anacondas live in the water in South America, and they will get 20 feet.
Are you able to find the hog-nosed snakes in their backyards?
Probably not. Not unless you have an acreage with no pesticides, plenty of toads. It has to be pretty much pristine. They don't do well in cropping or urbanization or cities. But you could find them in natural areas. The eastern hognose I found in natural areas, game and park locations where you can't take it, you can only see it and photograph it, along the Missouri River. Because I've found them at Ponca State Park, I found them at Pelican Point near Tacoma, which is all Game and Parks property. So you can find them on Game and Parks properties, but remember, they're protected there, you just photograph them.
Great. And let's end the last one with, what is your favorite snake?
That's like asking Julia, what's her favorite child?
Well, no, I'm just kidding.
You have one, but you don't say it.
Exactly. No.
It's hard to say. It's kind of sometimes what I'm working on that month or that year. But yeah, I can't tell you I have a favorite one.
Great questions, class. And thank you, Dennis, for your time. You guys have, the class has presented some amazing questions. It's showing us that you did a great job listening. And if you have further questions, your teacher, you can email them to us or write them down and we will get them to Dennis. So I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Have a great day.